Here now, Geraldo Rivera, Fox News correspondent at large. Geraldo, good to see you tonight. Your thoughts on their wording and their presentation in that article?
Well, I've got an alternate headline. Adolf Hitler, a lover of art and pets, died in a bunker in Berlin today. I mean, it is absolutely outrageous. It shows the utter contempt the Washington Post has for the President of the United States. This is an attempt to belittle this magnificent achievement and his role in it. I think it is very symptomatic. It's not just an obituary headline. It is in keeping with the absolute commitment of that otherwise fine newspaper to knock off this president, to make his presidency failed. I mean, imagine, the New York Times was just as bad. In their front page article in which they were reporting what happened, they said that the raid succeeded despite the president, not because of the president. I mean, how could they go there and state that as a matter of fact? It is really outrageous, it's pathetic, and it's symptomatic of how they feel about this president. It really is.
You can dig through the story, you can find a lot of different things, but the ultimate, you know, the outcome is the outcome. The commander-in-chief is the commander-in-chief. There were a lot of people involved in this. They all deserve credit. I think it has to be a moment when we can come together on at least those basic facts. Here's some of the critics, though, today.
The president is, abdicating, the responsibility to keep Congress informed.
Don't want a locker room kind of feel to this, right? And that was the one thing we worked really hard on after the bin Laden raid, is don't make those kind of statements because it does inspire other people.
Details, some of which sort of echoed, frankly, the crudeness you would often expect to hear maybe from ISIS.
He actually sounded like Saddam Hussein after torturing people, sounded like Muammar Gaddafi after he would torture people.
They didn't like his tone, Geraldo.
I just absolutely disagree with the person who said there was no celebratory tone here. There should have been. When Osama bin Laden, the mastermind of that mass murder in New York, almost 3,000, and in the fields in Pennsylvania and Washington, D.C., almost 3,000 Americans were killed, we celebrated. We got him. We got the bastard. Finally, we got him. That should have been the tone here. This al-Baghdadi is a mass murderer. He tortured, he raped. You had the parents on. It was so pathetic to watch them. It was heartrending to know that their daughter was held by this monster for a year and a half, repeatedly raped and tortured, and then finally killed, and the reporters who were beheaded, and the Jordanian pilot who was burned alive on camera. I mean, please, this was a person who had to be eliminated. We should all celebrate a great moment of national unity. Instead, because of Donald Trump's unpopularity with the mainstream media, the whole thing gets muted and it becomes much more complicated than it really should be. Who do you think asked the Iraqis and the Syrians and the Turks and the Russians for permission to overfly their territory? You know, the Russians have very sophisticated ground-to-air missiles. They easily could have shot our helicopters out of the sky when they came in the night, the 8 of them heading toward that secret compound. The president had to deal with the Syrian Kurds to get their permission and their intelligence. I mean, when the president, this president particularly, because he had withdrawn our forces from northeast Syria, knew that if this raid, God forbid, had failed, it would have been all on his shoulders. It would have been the Trump raid that failed. He did it. If he didn't withdraw those troops, we wouldn't.
Right.
I mean, but then
risk.
Because the raid succeeded, they can't concede to give him any credit at all.
Geraldo, thank you very much. Geraldo Rivera tonight.
Thank you.